He has been Chief Knowledge Officer, a national spokesperson for the organization, Mr. Avinash C. Chaturvedi.
In these special projects, if you are from the HR side, you will be rotated some other department so that you know what is the difficulty that the department faces.
Right. How you navigated the difficulties in the complex environment, that kind of resilience speaks volumes.
I taught them a lesson that it is the people, not the policies of the organization that matters.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of FaceTime with Leaders powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. I'm your host Charu Mehra, and today's conversation is going to be a masterclass in something every organization talks about, but very few truly understand. The power of HR to transform an entire enterprise. Our guest today is someone who has lived that transformation from the ground up. Over 37 years, he has shaped leaders, strengthened cultures, stabilized workforces, redesigned policies, navigated unions, guided boards, and built systems that continue to outlive business cycles. He has led HR and transformation at NTPC, including its Apex Leadership Institute, PMI. He has been Chief Knowledge Officer, a national spokesperson for the organization, and a trusted advisor in complex moments of organizational change. He has guided leadership development for senior executives and even board members of NTPC and BHEL. And his experiences in industrial relations, CSR, policy, and transformation has influenced some of India's largest public and private enterprises. After NTPC, he continued rewriting HR playbooks for GSFC, GACL, GGRC, Cadila Pharmaceuticals, and IRM Energy, and even returned to NTPC as Senior CSR Consultant. He's armed with education from Wharton FMS Delhi, Delhi University, and a career filled with real world lessons from plants, boardrooms, and everything in between. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Avinash C. Chaturvedi. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, sir. It's an honor to have you here. How are you doing today?
Thank you very much for your very nice introduction, Kay. And I'm delighted to be present here with you, and I'm grateful that you have provided me with an opportunity for this podcast, Kay.
Wonderful, sir. I'm looking forward to having a wonderful conversation with you today.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So, Mr. Chaturvedi, your journey spans almost 4 decades, but I don't want to start with titles or timelines. I want to start with the moment before all that. When you look back, what was that spark? Where did this passion for people, culture, and leadership and transformation really begin for you?
Very nice question. So, I would say that before I finished my education, post graduation, and then my law from Faculty of Law, my father was in the same field,
Oh, wow.
So he was a very senior HR officer. He was general manager.
Wow.
And he would call me to his office and he would ask me to sit down and watch how the HR comes into play. So I've seen people coming to him with grievances, with difficulties, and I have seen unions coming and banging his door and wanting things to be remedied. And I have seen individuals coming to him with various grievances, and the way he would approach those issues, that looked to me as if he's trying to narrow down, like, you have two circles, and if you overlap those two circles, you will find there's a common area.
Common ground, yes.
So he would always be looking at that common area where he could find a solution which is satisfying to him and the company as well as to the individual.
Right.
So
right.
that was the spark and he would always tell me that it is very easy for an engineer to prepare a machine, but it's very difficult for an HR person to shift to bring a shift within,
Right.
So you have to understand the people, their background, as to what they want really in life, from this episode, which
Right.
they bring to your notice every now and then.
Right.
And therefore, that gave me one big spark that they say, this is the profession where one should work.
Right.
And not only this helps you in the organization, but also it helps you in your own life.
Right. Exactly.
And the second thing which came to my mind was that I was once sitting with my friends, I was dealing with the union when I was the chief personal manager. I was dealing with the union. Suddenly, the union, that is a member sitting with them, the union came to raise the dispute of that individual member, So when I was discussing with this thing, and after a lot of debate on that as to how we should resolve this issue, I decided that let me think it over and then I'll come back to you. And that gentleman, and then the meeting was over. The people went out. Suddenly, I found the same individual who had come along with the union to discuss his individual grievance. He told me, sir, why don't you have a system? Because see, whenever we approach the union, these people demand their pound of flesh, to take their issue to the management.
Right.
You must have a system in which we can directly approach you.
Right.
Because if we directly approach to the HR department, the concerned officer or a manager, he may not be in a position. He is not in a position to resolve our grievances.
Right. Right.
So they always look up to you that if whatever CPM says that we'll resolve it, then we'll resolve it. So why don't you have a system like that? So we started a system that every week my door is open, people can come and discuss their issue individually.
Wow.
This was one thing. And this exercise, as a result of this exercise, we informed it to our headquarters in Delhi that this is what I started it, and these are the benefits I'm driving out of it. And they really felt very good. And then they introduced a system of grievance redressal in the organization.
Yes, yes.
So that spark came from that individual meeting with that fellow, and he is enlightening me that there should be a system available to you. And then we introduced the system, and the system worked so well that the union started coming to me, sir, what are you doing? Because people are not coming to us now any longer. You see? So that was the spark which came. And, that's how I really enjoyed my stay as a chief personal manager there,
Wow, wonderful. So, I've realized that it's the initial impressions when we are a child, when we are a kid that, gave us that sort of, shapes our future. Sometimes that happens. And that for you was your father, as you said.
Yes.
Fascinating. I love the moment, how that moment set the stage for everything else that you did, and how you navigated the difficulties in the complex environment. That kind of resilience speaks volumes. So kudos on that, sir, and thank you for sharing your experience with us.
Thank you.
So you manage HR ecosystems for massive scale, multi-location plans, thousands of employees, union dynamics, leadership pipelines, policy reform, the entire spectrum. But let me ask you something real. When you were leading HR at NTPC, what was the toughest moment you ever faced? The moment that truly tested your leadership? And was there a decision around restructuring performance systems, talent allocation, or industry relation that changed the direction of the organization?
So there were two such situations I recall.
Okay.
One was that in the middle of the night around 3 a.m., I got a call that our trains have met with an accident.
Oh, okay.
See, in a power station, the trains bring you the coal from the coal mine. Okay, they are called as merry-go-round system. It is a loop line which goes to the to the coal mine, and from there they put the coal, and then the coal comes to us.
Right.
So there was an accident of the train, and two persons died on the spot, and one person died. One person did not die, but he was seriously injured.
Yeah.
Two persons were the loco drivers on contract from the railway.
Oh, okay.
So they were not our people, but they were our people in the sense that they were working for NTPC. The third was the technician from NTPC. And we immediately shifted the technician to the hospital in the night. And we told the CMO that please look after this case. and nothing nothing should take place. Uh, Totally immerse yourself. Don't do any damn thing today. Take care of a person.
Right.
But then we were asked to go to the site. When we went to the site, we found a very interesting situation that the people, the unions of that coal mine, they came outside. There were 300-400 people, and the two dead bodies staring us outside, and these people were there around that dead bodies, and they were creating a lot of issues. When we went there. Okay. I went there, my operations head went there. So it was very difficult for us to take away those dead bodies,
Yes.
And there was a huge commotion. And that day we decided that our plant would generate the maximum, PLF, plant load factor in terms of generation. And then they were stuck up here, and our operation head was with us, and from 11 o'clock up to 3 o'clock, nothing was happening. They were not allowing us to go. They were asking all kinds of demands. But to my surprise, I found that our unions from the plant, they came all the way to the coal mine.
Oh.
And they get out us so that nobody touches us.
Yes, yes.
You see, and that was possible only if you have a good rapport with your own people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So those union people of ours, they surrounded us and ensured that nothing happens, and they expedited decision making there, their presence, so that the union from the coal side did not create any kind of a ruffian issues with us and our top team.
Right, right.
So the lesson that I received from this kind of an episode was that if you are taking care of your own people, whether they are unions or our own employees, they take care of you.
Yes.
And there was such a nice, beautiful situation where our unions surrounded us and didn't allow any damn thing to take place. And believe me, that day there was 100% generation which we had already planned on that day.
Okay.
So that was a very challenging situation.
Yes.
The second challenging situation that I got was the performance management system.
Okay.
In the performance management system, earlier the system was a confidential report, where the top management would write the confidential report to people.
Right.
And believe it or not, it was such a opaque system that since I was a part of that system, I cannot condemn it, but I would tell you the intricacy that when the general manager has to countersign the report, because ultimately it is the general manager who has to countersign the report.
Right.
When the report would go to him, he doesn't know the person whom he is countersigning.
Oh, okay.
Because at all executives counter reports have to be signed by general manager. He didn't know that, so he would say, "Who is that person whose report I am countersigning? Do I know him? Oh, his wife used to be a good dancer in the ladies' club, Yeah. So he would recall things like that. And then from this system, and there was a lot of problem after the promotion results were declared.
Right.
A lot of people will come and they will agitate that we didn't know that we will not get promotion, and particularly people who are not in around Delhi, but they are in the projects, and which is very far off from this PSK.
Right.
So they had one thing in their mind that they would like to be promoted, timely promotion.
Right.
And when the system was not giving them this kind of a output, they protested. At that time we brought performance management system. Performance management system was such that you need to tell people in advance that what are your KPIs, your key performing indicators, and based on that you assess them. The beauty of that system was that if they are not performing well, you have to talk to them face to face.
Right.
And every 6 months, after 1 year, your full assessment takes place. But every 6 months, there was a midterm assessment. In the midterm assessment, you have to face the person concerned. And when you face the person concerned, the man is not prepared to face. Because earlier, he was signing it blindly. Now you have to face and tell him what is good, what is bad.
Right, right.
So that was very difficult thing. So what we did was, and the most important thing here was that it is the top level which were not liking the system, because they are moving from their what is called as comfort zone.
Yes.
And earlier, the entire monopoly was with them, But now in the system, it is the senior manager or the highest person who has to countersign it.
Right, right.
So people were not happy with the entire system. We have to call we have to have the workshops around the country for about 3 months, and then we started this particular system. So it was a big challenge, because challenge was in terms of making people at a higher level to understand that the system is good system, and it will give you the results that you desire. So that was another second challenge that I faced it, and we have beautifully, navigated this challenge, and with my whole team, So it was good.
Wow, that when you talk about it, managing at that scale and the incident that happened at the coal mine, it sounds also intense, and I can almost feel the pressure you must be under.
See,
during
it
these
was
times.
like when you were entering from the entry point to the point where two dead bodies were lying, and there are 400 people circling that, and they're waiting for you to come.
Yes.
So that movement of traveling from the gate to that particular spot was something very horrific. I was feeling something could happen to us.
Oh my God.
It's like that. So earlier, in 70s and 80s and 90s, industrial relation was the meat of the HR.
Right. And though it was a very sad situation, but something beautiful came out of it.
Yes, yes,
Your people were standing for you. So
yes,
that's really wonderful to hear. And it's really challenging to balance everyone's interest and still move forward, which
yes,
you managed to do. So kudos to that, sir.
yes. Okay.
So you redesigned leadership development not just for managers, but for senior leaders and even board members at NTPC and BHEL. And that's really rare. So what, in your view, actually makes a leader ready? And was there a shift you introduced that fundamentally changed how NTPC identified and groomed future leaders?
See, the one of the most important things in this is that leadership is not about the competence. It is how you play, how is the character under pressure.
Right.
So that is the leadership part of it. When a person is facing a situation when his character has come into question, how does he really, react to that?
React.
Okay, does he succumb, or he stands firm and takes a decisive decision? So that is according to me, that exactly is what I think is the what you have just stated, that is where I call a person is ready. It takes a lot of time, that to make a person ready for that kind of a job.
Right.
So what we did in NTPC was very simple. Whenever you are transiting from one level to another level, we gave a development program, not a training program.
Wow.
Development training is only episodic, It's like an episode.
Actually, yes.
Development is something continuous and experiential.
Right.
And therefore, we wanted to bring as to how you are doing, not what you are doing. The change was that everybody is competent at a certain level. You will do it, but how will you do your job?
Exactly.
And that we integrated with our performance management system. That is, in the performance management system, we put a lot of things apart from the competency, assessing competencies. We put what is called as special projects. In these special projects, if you are from the HR side, you will be rotated to some other department. So that what is the difficulty that your department faces.
Right.
An engineer who's working on the boiler or a turbine would go and work in the coal handling plant. So there was a rotation.
Right.
For you to understand that things are not honky-dory on the other side.
Yes.
Please work yourself, and then you will know the difficulty. So HR now suddenly started thinking about business. You see, earlier the HR was busy doing its own work.
Yes.
Now you are in a business.
Right.
We made the HR person to sit in the operations O&M meetings every day in the morning to understand the difficulty that they are facing.
Right.
So
Right.
the difficulty was that people cannot come from the plant to our administrative building for getting a form to build a HBA, house building advanced forms. Everything was in the administrative building, which is 2 kilometers from the plant.
Right.
So we started a plant personnel department there, so that everything is available to the people in the plant who can come and take those things from there.
Right. Right.
That is how we looked at it.
Right.
Everything we looked from the view that how can we, how can the business work smoothly. The entire orientation was not only HR things, but how we can bring in a situation where the business is facilitated.
Right. Right.
So
Wonderful.
that was the aspect which I was talking to you.
Agreed. So, and yours is a really refreshing perspective, sir, here, because I have seen and I've worked in organizations where HR is just busy in, they do not get into the business side of things. They are just doing people management and some CSR activities and fun activities.
I will tell you one thing about my organization NTPC from this platform, that NTPC was one organization which taught us from, as you were saying rightly, from normal things that takes place in HR to transaction. From transaction to transformation.
Wow.
And NTPC spent huge amount of money in the development of its own people. That is the beauty of that company. Let me tell you that. NTPC, can you believe it, that general managers and executive directors go to Wharton, where the program is customized for them only.
Oh, wow.
For 10 days program in Wharton, we spend 5 crores of rupees, and that is happening every year.
Wow.
So the leadership, what we have done is we have built a leadership pipeline. So if somebody leaves, we have another person available in the pipeline. So the succession planning that is the way succession planning was built up. So train your people.
Yes.
Train your people, give them an opportunity to perform, make your performance management system very robust.
Right.
So the right person deserving person gets the necessary promotion and bonus, and then develop people, all at all levels. Believe it or not, that we had created a system in the organization that even a peon can rise above. From 8th class, we gave him opportunity for 10th class. Everything was organized in-house. No money to be paid by him. From 10th class, he can go and do ITI. From ITI, he can do diploma. From diploma, he can do degree. Then we lined up with the with the Institute of Management Technology, IIT Delhi, as well as your MDI Gurgaon, for people to do their MBA and their IIT, MTech from IIT, and everything is being done by giving you full salary for the month.
And that's why people are also happy working in such organizations. And it clearly states that you look at leaders as whole individuals, not just by titles.
Yeah. We have very little attrition level in the organization.
Yes.
It was 0.92, then it became about 2% maximum when this IPP started working, And IPP, that is the independent power producers, they were only taking people from NTPC, So that time it increased to 2%, but then again it reverted,
Wow.
That's it,
So fascinating how you adapted these concepts for NTPC. So wonderful job, sir.
Okay.
All right. So after NTPC, you stepped into advisory roles with GSFC, GACL, GGRC, Cadila, and most recently with IRM Energy and NTPC again for CSR. What surprised you the most when you shifted from leading one organization to advising so many? And what do companies usually misunderstand about HR transformation when they bring in a consultant?
You see, it was a shock. Moving from a public sector, a very enlightened public sector, I would say that, to the state sector, this GGC, GSFC, GSC, etc. And I found that in those companies, promotions have not taken place for the last 3-4 years.
Oh, okay.
The unions are every day agitating on some issue or the other. In a private sector, there is a churn at the level of 33% every year, 33% every year, people are leaving the organization.
Mm.
So these were the challenges, So how to bring about transformation? Now, in the state sectors or GGCL, etc., it was basically the unions with whom I had to discuss. So a lot of long-term settlements were due, which have not taken place for a long time. So I started with the issue of settling long-term agreements with these unions, And you'll be surprised that in one particular company, I don't want to name it, the overtime was running into lakhs of rupees per month per employee because they were forcing the management for them to go on overtime.
Oh, okay.
They have taken their EMIs only on the basis of
the overtime money.
Overtime money. So it was very difficult. So what we did was, when we had these long-term discussions for long-term, agreement and they had discussions, I saw first thing was that people will go on overtime only when the concerned manager allows you to go on overtime.
Right.
That is non-negotiable. You cannot be going on overtime because you are forcing management to go on overtime.
Agreed.
And then I had discussed with them, gave them good conditions, terms and conditions for their long term. But this entire thing happened in such a way that the entire overtime, although it is statutory dues as per the Factories Act, but overtime overnight disappeared.
Yes.
That would mean about 2 to 3 crore rupees annually,
Absolutely.
which was saved by the organization. So it is how you deal with people in the long term. For the long term agreement, how you deal. For dealing with the unions in such a way that they also have something with them and we also have something with them, because only 10% of the people were taking overtime and 90% were not taking 8K.
Right.
So the 90% people were very unhappy because they saw these people are having cars, they're having big scooters, and they are enjoying their life, and 10% people were not doing 8K. So that is how I exploited 8K. 90% people, I said, I'll give you very good allowances, forget about this overtime, force your people not to pressure the management to go on overtime.
Right.
So this really saved the company, the organization. When I came to the totally private sector, I don't want to name the private sector organization, you did name, I found that situation entirely different. I was given a task for transformation because a lot of people are leaving the organization. So I started having my studies done. And the reason for people leaving the organization? The reason was the managing director himself.
Oh, okay.
Because what he was doing was, he was firing people in the meeting itself.
Oh my God.
Okay. And there's a lot of interference from his family side to the functioning of the organization.
Okay.
And people didn't like it. See, people were PhDs. They didn't like somebody is interfering. Somebody is interfering with their functioning. And so when I presented it to the board of directors of that company, the managing director had nothing to say because he was actually doing it.
Right.
So that is the reason why so many people are leaving the organization. So I taught them a lesson that it is the people, not the policies of the organization that matters.
Right.
The people are behind your success or failure. Take care of your people.
Right. Wonderful job, sir. I can really understand that it must be both challenging and stimulating.
Very challenging, because now you are touching the managing director.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then these cultures are so different in the public sector and the private
The
sector.
culture is different. See, other thing which I wanted to share with you was that in public sector, things grind very fine. It is slow process,
Yes.
but it's a very robust process. Let me tell you that. In a private sector, the process is very fast. For example, if you want to recruit somebody in a public sector, there is a process that you have to follow.
Mm-hmm.
In private sector, I recruited a person, 2 crore rupees, the annual salary, but the system was very fast.
Right.
So they don't have to bother about the government or anybody else. They are so fast in taking decision. Similarly, in a public sector, if there is a disciplinary action, it takes time to resolve. In a private sector, you simply fire a person concerned. So all I would want to tell you here was public sector, particularly NTPC, public sector was functioning as if it has the heart of public sector and mind of a private.
Private sector.
So if you finish in that particular way, I'm sure you are going to be successful. Look at NTPC. NTPC changed over time. It started with the thermal, then it moved to gas, it moved to hydro, it moved to solar, it moved to wind, now it's going in nuclear. Why? Because you are changing with time.
Yes, absolutely. And
so you need to change with time.
Agreed. We cannot be stuck. And it seems that transformation is more about people than processes, right?
Yes.
You take care of, as you said earlier, take care of your people, they'll take care of you.
Of you. Yeah, that's right. That's perfectly right. And this is my experience over the years.
Right. All right, sir. Rapid fire, no explanation, just the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
Okay. What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
While I wake up, I do my yoga.
Wow, wonderful. Okay. Your comfort food?
My comfort food is pizza.
Ah, nice one. Okay. One activity that instantly relaxes you?
Meditation.
Meditation. Nice. All right. Next one. A book that changed your thinking?
Good to great.
Oh, nice. Okay. Next one. A leader you deeply admire?
My father.
Wow, that is wonderful. Okay. A country left on your travel list?
Kenya.
Kenya? All right. Nice. Okay. Next one. A superpower you wish you had?
I had superpower that I wish I had was, helping people who are in distress.
Basically, a normal Superman sort of power where you can help people.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Your favorite weekend ritual?
Oh, well, taking my family, of course, my wife now, my children have all married and settled. So taking my wife for a movie or for a good restaurant, that is my weekend thing.
Wow, that is so sweet. Okay, next one. One thing you never compromise on at work?
Integrity.
Integrity. One. That's really nice. Okay, the last one is success in one word for you is?
When you achieve a goal by following ethical standards.
So basically being ethical.
Being ethical, yeah, being ethical. That's the way I look at it.
Wow, that was such a spontaneous and a candid round. Thank you for being so open with us here, sir. So great rapid fire we had. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
So over 37 years, you've seen the best and the worst of how organizations behave. Is there an incident in either HR, IR, CSR, policy, leadership, anything that made you pause and rethink how organizations should operate? And based on that realization, what must leaders strengthen today to build organizations that people can actually trust?
There was one incident when I was in the looking after the corporate social responsibility that we would go, and this linked with the corporate social responsibility was rehabilitation and resettlement.
Okay.
So whenever you go and you want to build a new plant, you have to go and acquire land for it. And whenever we go and acquire land, you cannot acquire land like that by meeting the district magistrate, etc. You have to talk to the people whose land you are taking. And we would always consider that these people are all illiterate people. They have no idea about what is the land and anything about that. So we will go there, give them some money, and they will happily take that money, and that's be done with it. You know.
Right.
That was a mistake. Now, how India has changed, I'll tell you that. In one of the projects for taking acquisition of land, we went to the site,
Okay.
and the village itself, you know. And there we gave them that we can take your land because your land is not a fertile land.
Mm.
And this is the undulated land, and we will give you this amount of money for acquiring your land. Will you be happy with that amount of money? Because we have checked up that the last registry of that piece of land somewhere nearby was very less, you know, less amount of money. Because it is the land where there is no fertility, you know. So accordingly, we decided to give them better than last sale, you know. So we went there. We had a meeting under a tree. It was October month, and all of us, all the villagers were sampling there, okay, and they all sampled there. And we told them that this is the amount of money that we'll give it to you for this land. We have to make a small presentation and tell them about it. Okay. It was in Madhya Pradesh. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
These people said, "Sir, you kindly wait for 5 minutes. Our pradhan, our Tau is coming from outside." Okay, you know. So Tau is a elderly person.
Elderly person.
Yeah. So the Tau came running from there, and he excused himself because he was late. And then we told him that this is what we have discussed, and this is the price we are offering to you for the acquisition of this land. And he said, "What price are you offering to us?" I said, "X price we are offering to you." And then this man, a small telephone, you know, during those days, there was a telephone from Nokia, small telephone, you know, I'm forgetting its name. The guy looked at that telephone and said, "Sir, we are prepared to accept your money as you have given during the last acquisition of the land. For the last plant that you have acquired the land, whatever money you have given to them, we'll take it from you." See, we never thought that this old man is so clever. Because the last acquisition of land we took it at Jhajjar in Haryana, which was very close to Gurgaon, was in terms of lakhs of rupees per acre.
Yes.
And this guy suddenly comes out and says, "This is the amount I'll take." And the land, his land was barren. There was nothing around that place. But then we thought that let us be very honest with these people, and we give them a reasonable rate for compensation for acquisition of land. Otherwise, these people have become smarter now.
Yes.
They will force you to give you for the money from the last acquisition. So this changed our concept in the land acquisition. You know. So in the land acquisition now, we are very more transparent in terms of offering them the compensation.
Wow.
So we became very transparent in that.
Wow. So, you know, that really paints a picture for us, sir. And I can imagine the intensity of that moment that would have been, because this was something unexpected that you were facing.
Correct.
You were
We
not
were
prepared
surprised.
for it.
We were surprised at the same time, you know, surprised and bewildered. You know, how come this old man looks to be a what is called as a not intelligent and illiterate, but this guy was smart.
Smart.
And that is the revolution that the country has got in terms of mobile phone, you know.
Absolutely. And these are exactly the moments where what test leaders, right? Don't you think so?
Yeah, it does. It does. And we were very frank with this fellow after that. We were very frank, and we get them very handsome compensation.
Right. Wonderful. So you recently joined Directors Institute despite having such a seasoned career. What made you take that step now? And did the program shift your perspective in any unexpected ways?
It does. You see, I retired in 2015. I'm 70 years old now.
Wow.
And I had a huge, experience at my disposal.
Right.
I worked in public and private sector, etc., as you know. So I wanted to upskill myself, because what was the board? I was independent director on the board, as you can see from my resume.
Yes.
What was the board at that point of time And how are the board challenges at this point of time? And believe it or not, it was a great experience joining you, because after joining you, I had everything so smoothly, delivered to me. Yeah,
Wow.
and particularly the AI and this program of artificial intelligence and business analytics, okay, was a great eye opener for me,
Wow.
because this is what I have not studied.
Right.
While we were doing these things earlier, but I have not studied. I'll give you a very simple example that what I have understood from business analytics and AI.
Mhm.
Earlier, we were only seeing the attrition rate of the organization or attrition rate of the plant where we are working there. Okay?
Right. Right.
So what we were doing, we get the data and then we were replacing it with another person, okay? Because people have left and the other fellow will say, I want
Right.
replacement.
Right.
But I should have done something better. Why people are leaving the organization?
Ah.
That kind of information would have given me a data. And
Right.
today, when I analyzed in the data analytics, I found that there was a attrition only from one particular department, which was the maximum attrition, and this was impacting the
Whole.
whole number, of the attrition.
Right.
I went further now, and I found out that the attrition was coming because of the poor supervisoryship of that man,
Oh, okay.
not because of anything else.
Yes.
So if I had done that, I would have taken care of that supervisor or the manager rather than incurring replacement cost every now and then
Right.
for the
Right.
new joinees to join.
And then your knowledge base also gets lost. You have to train the new person and everything from the starting.
Yes, so that was it. Another thing was that in during summer months in our plant canteen there used to be a lot of commotion in the plant canteen.
Mhm.
So I now started looking at why there used to be so much of commotion. Though I could analyze at that point of time, but if you see from the analytics part of it, you have to you have to go backwards to analyze that. And I found that in 2 3 months' time, in the month of summer, the employees' wives go to their mama's place, along with their children, as you know, and the employees will be handicapped in terms of his food.
Food.
So he would not get the kind of food that he's used to. So he will depend upon the plant canteen. And the plant canteen, in any case, cannot produce food to you as good as your wife can produce for you.
Agreed. Agreed.
And therefore, there was a complete chaos used to take place. You get my point or not?
Yes.
So that is easy. In the business analytics part of it, in the analysis part of it, you can easily find out the reason why these things are taking place.
Agreed, agreed. Wow, that was a really wonderful feedback for Directors Institute, sir. Thank you so much. And what really inspires is that even after decades, I see such curiosity and willingness to learn, and it shows that growth doesn't stop with experience.
It's only a number. The age is only a number. You
No,
can continue to run.
absolutely, absolutely.
And I have over a period of time, you see, when at this point of time, I'm keeping absolutely touch with what is happening in the HR side.
Right, right.
So that's very important. You have to be up to date of what's happening. What you have forgot about it. What is happening now, you must be in touch with that.
Agreed, agreed.
Yeah.
Wonderful, sir. And I wish you all the best for your future goals.
Thank you very much for the opportunity that you have given it to us for new learning, and I'm really enjoying it.
Same. Mr. Avinash, what an inspiring, grounded, and deeply insightful conversation this has been. Thank you so much for sharing not just what you achieved, but how you think, how you lead, and what you've learned from decades of working with people in the most real sense of the word. And to everyone listening, today was a reminder that HR is not paperwork or policy or process. HR is strategy, empathy, courage, and transformation, all woven together. I'm Charu Mehra, and this was FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. Stay curious, stay committed, and keep becoming the leader you're meant to be. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you.